On average, Americans plan to spend over $6,300 on vacations in 2026, many of them going into debt in order to do so. A vacation doesn't need to hurt your financial plan. It needs to be a part of your financial plan. I'll show you how to do that. That and more coming up. Are you going anywhere on spring break? Or maybe if that season of your life is gone, spring break, oh, the kids are out of the house, we don't do that anymore. Do you have your next vacation scheduled? I hope so. I hope so. Oftentimes, if you don't take a vacation, and depends on the season of life, I get it, but if you're later in your career and so on, have a financial foundation established, if you don't take a vacation, oftentimes that can feel like a financial win. However, your life is actually out of balance and it can lead to consequences down the road. The flip side is true as well. If you say, well, financially we haven't prepared, but we're going on vacation because we need to do it and it's important for our relationships and experiences. But then if you don't have a plan for it, then financially it can cause you to take a few steps backwards. Either one of those, not a great approach. And listen, guys, I've been in the first camp a couple of times. Cindy and I, we've been married for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years later this year. And there have been at least 2 times I remember that where I've been called out and received some hard feedback from my wonderful spouse about not prioritizing vacations. And early on, it was, financially, we're trying to get things established in our financial life and get that foundation laid. And as we were making financial progress, I just can see the look in her eyes. She kindly looked across the table from me as we were talking about financial priorities, financial goals. And she said, "We can't save all of the money, Mike. Don't you think we should go on a trip?" And that led to an argument that ended up leading to me apologizing because she was right. And then again recently, and this is post-COVID and everything else, where I just wasn't on my mind that we were going to go travel. And she looked at me and said, "Mike, we haven't been on a vacation as a family in almost 2 years." And she was right there as well. You got to prioritize it. But the problem is many people don't make it part of their financial plan. They think, well, from a financial standpoint, I don't need to plan for it. Or if I plan for it, or if I do it, it's going to take me off of my financial goals. No. Vacations need to be a part of your financial plan. And that's true, right? So often we think of the big financial priorities as saving up for retirement, paying down debt, these really long-term goals, but you have a lot of short-term goals as well. One of those maybe being trips, another one maybe, fixing up the house or doing some other things. You've got long-term goals and you have short-term goals. Your plan needs to encompass all of them so that you've got balance. So the number one tip to make vacations a part of your financial plan is to implement a 3 bank account system. A 3 bank account system. That's really, really geeky, but essentially bank account number 1 is your monthly regular expenses. This is your immediate spending, your checking account. You've got monthly income, you've got monthly expenses, and you've laid that all out and you've ensured that everything fits, okay? That's bank account number 1. We're all familiar with bank account number 3. That's the emergency fund. That is not the vacation fund. Bank account number 3, that's the emergency fund, and a vacation isn't an emergency. I suppose sometimes, in a couple of those instances with my wife, it felt like an emergency. We needed to do it. But no. Those dollars in bank account number 3, you're intending to have those there just in case of crisis. Break glass just in case you need it. So lost a job, a big unexpected expense, something like that. That's the safety net, and that gives you confidence. Bank account number 2, though, this is where vacations fit. This is where birthdays fit. This is where, new car fits. This is where, deductibles fit. These are the non-monthly expenses. And so often, these are the short-term goals where you list out, here's what I want to do. These are the expenses that I can foresee on the horizon. Some of them needs, some of them wants, okay? But they're not monthly expenses. Therefore, here's how much I'd like to spend. So if the average American apparently is going to spend $6,300 on trips, vacations in this year. Okay, so $6,300, that's how much we're going to spend on vacation. Divide that by 12 and automatically set that money aside from your checking account or from your paycheck into bank account number 2 so that when you're ready to book the trip, the money's there. It's not a big financial event. It's part of the plan. Now for me, bank account number 2 isn't just one bank bank account. It's actually, I think it's 6 or 7, and I've got them listed. I'll just be honest here. My vacation fund, we have just titled it Disney. We've got young kids. They're now, older. But Disney for a while, that was like, well, when we go on a trip, we're going to Disney. It's not the case anymore. It's still left as the Disney fund, but I've got vacations all in one account. I've got car replacement and car repairs in another account. I've got, I've got insurance and taxes, that's another account. Any of the non-monthly expenses that I know are going to come up, I've got an account for them, and they each get fed so that when those expenses come up, I've got the resources there. That's the clarity that I want for you and the confidence that I want for you as well. Now, in addition to making vacations a part of your financial plan, you also need to be wise about how you can stretch your dollar, okay? And there's a couple ways you can do so. One is, what is your credit card point strategy? And there isn't one that works for everyone. I have seen it work very well when individuals have the mileage card or the hotel rewards card or whatever, and they use that throughout the year and they use those points towards their vacation. That can work very, very well, okay? But you need to know that that's my strategy and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have our dollars stretch even further because these rewards are going towards the vacation. That's fantastic. I've also seen, and this is the approach that I take, where I just get a normal cash back on all of my cards, but then that cash back can be used for a purpose, and you could use that towards that vacation fund and really stretch your dollars. So that'd be one wise way to stretch your dollars when it comes to vacations. The other one, and I've seen this work both ways as well, is the itemized list or the all-inclusive. The itemized list or the all-inclusive. And you need to know your situation, which one is best for you. I have seen it where individuals, they say, no, we're driving, we're packing lunches, we're not, everything's going to be a la carte, and we can manage the budget really, really well, and we can make the vacation a great experience and more affordable. I've also seen it where we've got a big family and the all-inclusive, the math is just going to work better, and plus the stress of the finances, I know I can budget for that number and it's going to work. Either one, you've got to know what's your strategy. So both of these stretch your dollar sort of approaches, figure out your credit card point strategy and figure out your itemized or all-inclusive strategy. Find the one that works for you. And then a couple other wise travel tips. One, book as far out in advance as you can. This isn't always the case, but oftentimes it's cheaper the earlier you book, okay? Yeah, there's some, like at the last minute, you can get flights and everything that are a little bit cheaper than where they were maybe a month before that. But if you're planning a vacation, that can be very, very stressful. So plan ahead oftentimes saves you resources and can be an advantage. If you can be flexible on your travel dates, be flexible, okay? Where, hey, we don't need to leave on Saturday, we could leave on Friday. We don't need to leave on, we don't need to go this specific week, we can go, a month later, something like that. Obviously, it doesn't work if you've got kiddos like me and spring break is when spring break is, that's it. But if you can be flexible on your dates, be flexible on your dates. If you can be flexible on your mode of transportation, that's also a big one. We've driven a lot recently just because flights have been outrageous, especially for a family of 5, but that flexibility can go a long way as well. And then lastly, speaking of flights and everything, is make sure that you are mindful about travel insurance. I've seen a lot of people just say, well, I'm concerned about it, so I'm going to get the travel insurance, even though there wasn't a significant risk that if something happened, if you were sick or whatever, it wasn't a significant risk because it wasn't a very expensive trip. But you still got the travel insurance. I would typically recommend getting the insurance for the much bigger, the more expensive trips, the ones that are maybe bring that average up, right? Or that are above the average of the $6,000 on vacation spend. So be wise about the approach that you take with travel insurance. What are your best travel tips? Leave those below in the comments. I'd love to hear them. But the one that is the game changer for most people is that 3 bank account system and having that travel sinking fund, if you will, where you set that goal as a short-term goal and you ensure that it fits within your overall financial life and the rest of your financial priorities. Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.